Well, hello everyone and welcome to the end of July tour. And look how brown the grass is. It's been very, very dry. And as always, kicking off with the rhubarb bed, we've got the gladiolus come out to brighten things up. Lily's looking rather nice. Rhubarb has perked up a bit. A little bit disappointing with the marigolds down there. I've given the Chelsea chop to the Nautia, admittedly 2 months later than Chelsea, but there we go. Alstromeria's looking rather nice in the little planters. So the strawberries no longer netted, they have done their thing. We've got some leeks down the middle there that seem to appreciate being in with the strawberries in previous years. So the bean wigwams, they're doing pretty well. They didn't seem to mind the extreme heat that we had last week. They seem to cope with it quite nicely. I think the straw mulch at the bottom is always useful to mulch their beans because of keeping their roots as moist as you can. The net is off the blackcurrants and gooseberries. Our sickened gooseberry bush rather suffered from the heat, so we only got a harvest from, well, we got half a harvest from it, but no shortage of fruit this year. £13 worth of black currants from the 2 bushes, which was for 2 people is more than enough. So carrots doing okay, they're just ticking along nicely. The blueberries were netted because they have been cropping well. And the Chilean guava, that's got some flowers on it. I'm just hoping that having netted the blueberries, that the pollinators can actually get in there for the guava. So we've been harvesting the Jazzy potatoes, and they're very nice in terms of flavour. They've been pretty poor in terms of actual yield. Well, we might give them a go another year. Oh, hello, we've got some potato fruit there on the sarpomeras. They haven't, as you can see from the size of their foliage, which is dying back now, even though they've still got another month to go, they have not performed as well as they could have done, but it's probably due to the heat. So we've got the courgette plants. They have been going mad. You blink and you miss a marrow quite easily. French beans, they've been going well. They are starting to crop like mad. Have a quick look at the orchard bed there. So this runner bean was just one from last year, so they will overwinter. Well, I say they will, that's only one out of, 32 that was in that bed last year. But if you get one, they don't crop terribly well in the second year compared to brand new ones, but as a living root in the ground, they're fantastic. So the onions are out. They didn't do too badly given that the conditions meant they ended up done in almost by downy mildew. We've now got planted up this bed with turnips, radish and beetroot, and the fallow bed here. Oh, hello, we've got some these sort of fodder radish pods, which I believe are edible, but we'll probably end up saving seed from those so we can have our own for next year. So we have this bed of mixed stuff really. We've got some peppers which have really struggled to get going, as have the tomatoes. So if it was just one or the other, we might think that it was something wrong with the plants, but we're a bit suspicious there's something wrong with the bed. Not quite sure what. And this bed here has got Sherwood cabbages that are doing reasonably well. They're hearting up quite nicely. The cabbages here with Autumn King did not do well at all, so we've got some swede in there now. So the peach peregrine has had an absolute hack, and it's had the classic gardeners talking to that if it doesn't give us some fruit next year, it's out. So you hear that, peregrine? Because we don't really want a passenger, and actually we've been thinking about perhaps putting in Waldo blackberry, taking another cutting of that, which we know is a good cropper. Poor old primroses down this side bed have nearly lost the fight with the lack of moisture, but have been watering them, so hopefully bring them back. Cherry's been doing okay, having produced one cherry for the year. It's obviously going to be taking a rest now. And yeah, the lily over, the orange lily has done its thing. We have got the hardy fuchsia at the back here. The other one beside it died off, but I'm actually thinking that's fortuitous, because I'm thinking about doing, anyone who watches Allotment Diggers, or Digger, because it's Mark, and Buttercup of course, the cat, they'll know that he has lots of spring bulb plants and planters, and I'm wanting to have a few planters on the plot, which I will then, when they've done their spring thing, I will hide them at the back of the corral there. So, and so tomatoes absolutely love being up against the shed here. They've been doing rather well, and we have been cropping tomatoes, unlike last year when everything got blighted. Oh, we have a sunflower head. So that's taller than me, so that's heading up towards 7 feet now. That's doing quite well. So the tree lilies are out. My wonderful plan, I did a video about making a turning a spindly fruit tree into festooning it. This has been opening up a little bit with the tied up branches, and I think it's possibly because of the weight of the fruit and the wind, of course, which is always horrific. So I may need to rethink that. So the peppers in the quad grow have been absolutely loving it, although that does need to get refilled. And Waldo, thornless blackberry, I've been tying in its new growth for next year. It's given us a pretty good crop, but the bank is not the best place for it. It's very dry up here, so we may end up ditching that one, putting something else in there. So this blueberry, which we thought was dead, is actually coming back. And I think it just appreciates getting its roots reduced. They do like being in a confined root space, and thankfully it seems to have perked up since going into that smaller pot. So we've had a few dahlias doing their thing up there. I ended up removing, that's died back ivy around an old tree branch that was actually up between us and our neighbour there, and the weight of the ivy on it was knocking it over. So the planters on either side of the rose arch, they've been filling up nicely with lots of colour and plenty more to come. So raspberries, we have got raspberries, and we are cropping them regularly. This is the polka autumn raspberry, which tends to be early in the summer and through into the autumn. But you notice the height isn't really that good, and that's because this is such a dry year, and actually it's a very dry area of the country. Super column plum trees, they're going to be getting a prune, a much needed prune in August. And we popped some lettuce in the back of the shade of the sweet corn, which is silking up there, so it won't be long before we get some cobs. Looking forward to that. I would say it's one of the biggest pleasures of having an allotment is the getting the sweet corn. Parsnips, they're doing all right. We've got some more leeks popped in the front here. And this is the tomato bed that's performing well, unlike the first one that I showed you with the peppers. So this is one that's just had its peas knocked down, that went right down the middle. We've got some usable beetroot in there still. And the Brussels sprouts are in. So this is a variety called Crispus. It's an F1. We tried a non-F1 last year and it really did not perform. So we're going to stick with something which is hopefully a little bit better when the elements aren't quite perfect. So Otto's Thrill is popped out. Very nice of it. We've got loads of fruit, and so from apples, that is. Pretty much no fruit from any of the other trees. That's American Sun, that dahlia there. Yes, it's doing quite well. We have planted up along with sort of what we call the ribbon beds of the orchard bed now, which was originally just plastic. But we think one of the mistakes with the espaliers in particular along the edge was they were just surrounded with plastic, and they probably weren't appreciating it. So here's the Victoria plum. That's definitely going to have to get hacked back soon. We got a butternut squash here, Hunter variety. Pinks are doing well. Another squash over there, flowering away. So I've tied up the new Waldo growth onto the obelisk. It's very sturdy, thick growth, so I don't think that I'll be able to bend it over. So next year I may end up sort of growing it into the trees or something, just to make use of that natural framework. So the new rose has, I gave it a little cut back, and we now have new buds coming. The sweet peas are done, and so Mrs. Soil and Toil has been going around labelling up the colours for saving seed for next year. And back to the rhubarb bed. Oh, I see we've got an apple dropped there. That's not particularly nice on that apple. Some of the ones are looking rather nice. Borage is dying down there. Oh, this Alstroemeria is looking good. We have in the Crown Prince somewhere along here. Where is it? Oh, here it is. There we are. I think that's the only fruit that it's got at the moment. Something about the shape of it, I'm not convinced that it's actually going to stick around. So there we are. A bit longer than usual actually. There's a lot going on though. Hope everyone's keeping well, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.